1 second. Adrian! Sorry, I had to make sure my dog wasn't doing anything weird. What is happening? Hey guys, it's Lucy. So today I wanted to talk to you about my writing experience because it's something that I've talked about very vaguely on this channel, but I kind of wanted to tell you guys what I'm doing, what I'm actually writing, my hopes for getting it out for you guys to read eventually, and also how that's going to play a part in this channel. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. I just haven't, didn't script this at all. This is so random that I'm making it, but whatever. Growing up, I never liked writing. I would always try to write books because I always had story ideas. I just never could figure out how to write them down. I realized that I wasn't doing like double space or the right type of font or the sizing or anything. I was just opening documents and trying to write, and then I didn't understand why there were no pages getting turned out. It's just, it's hard to get a page count out when you have the tiniest font and no double space. So I felt like I was making no progress, and then I just gave up every time. And then when I was younger, I really gravitated towards playing with dolls and making stories that way. Also stop motions for a really long time. And then in 2014, November, my grandfather passed away, and he was my best friend. He lived with us for 3 years. He was like a second dad to me, and just it was obviously world shattering when he passed away. And so in February, I think it was, I took a writing class, and suddenly I was able to write 20 pages. I figured out how to space it better, and I was like, whoa, I can write this book idea I've had for a while. I had a dream that I wanted to turn into a book, and I never was able to really write it. But in February of the next year, in 2015, I was suddenly able to write a bunch. I wrote the second chapter or the first 2 or something, and then I never went back to the writing class, so then I just stopped writing after that. And then I think that April we moved back to California because we were in Oregon at the time, and then we moved back here after my grandpa passed away. And I was talking to a friend who was also a writer, and she was talking about her writing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote something as well. So I sent her the second chapter, and then she's like, oh, where's the first chapter? And after, literally since that moment, I've just been writing nonstop. I continued the story because I wanted to talk to her about it and have it to relate to. We moved back and forth between Oregon and California 3 times that year. And that's at the end of summer, August 2015, we're in a motorhome with dogs and cats and a fish tank in the bathtub. And I sat at that table in the RV and I finished my first book in literally within about kind of 4 to 5 months after starting it. It was done. And then I sent it to my uncle, and he helped me fix some of it. And then I never really touched it again. And then I realized that it was the worst book ever. And I was so ready to publish it. I'm like, first draft done, ready to publish. And he's like, oh no. But I wrote something. I wrote it fast. I enjoyed it. I had so much fun. At that point, I was still acting out scenes like I do now because it helps dialogue be more authentic. It was such a fun experience that even though I kind of hate the book now, I do not regret doing it at all. And then that summer, I was still talking to the same friend, and she was writing a fantasy book, and I really wanted to write fantasy because I chose for my first book a Civil War murder mystery, and I know nothing. I know about the Civil War, I know stuff about it, but I'm not I didn't know how to research very well at that point. I still am not the best at researching, but then I also just don't know tons historically. I was looking at food and clothing and the type of weapons they'd have, and how certain buildings would look, and I made it a racist town in Pennsylvania in the north. I feel I did not say that couldn't have happened, but it was just really stupid, some of the decisions I made. So it was a mess. It was so inaccurate, I'm sure. It was weird. There's just so much to it that was just no. So I decided to touch upon fantasy, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for a fantasy book. But then my dad and I watched the TV show Revolution, which, if you don't know, is this apocalyptic show where the power goes out everywhere in the entire world, and even batteries aren't working, and cars and cell phones, everything stops working. And so they end up reverting back to kind of farming and just living off the land everyone is, and militias rise up, and there's no power anywhere, and everyone's fighting with swords and all this stuff. So that show heavily inspired me to start a fantasy book particularly the main relationship in it between the uncle and niece and the militia aspect. It really made me want to write something that was similar. I thought I was going to be taking this like kind of directing acting class where you write your own script. It was in high school. You write your own script and then you have people act it out and you get to direct it. So I made up this story very similar to Revolution, 20-page script where this girl gets taken by a militia and her sister bumps into the swordsman. They clash a lot morally, and then they eventually get the sister back. The end, happily ever after. Well, I didn't take the class, but I still really liked the idea. So I decided to turn it into a book. I didn't know what I wanted the whole thing to be, but man, like the way that God gave me this gift for writing when I needed it most, he really just made this book come together, because I don't know how I did that. Like, I had no plan. I didn't outline at all. The main villain, I'm pretty sure I didn't even come up with him until I was like almost done with the book. Like, it was crazy how much just wasn't a thing when I wrote the first draft. I just was like, okay, I want an old witch and maybe some mermaids and the main duo, June Carver, the teenage girl who's very moral and idealistic, and James Matheson, the jaded swordsman in his 30s who didn't want a kid but ended up adopting one anyway through her. That literally just guided the whole story. That's all I wanted out of it, was just a father-daughter duo. Later I found out about The Last of Us, and that heavily inspired my writing, but I just wanted that dynamic to drive it forward. And then I wrote the book in like a year. And it was a mess, but what's funny is that I edited the book a few times since I first wrote it, and it's really not that much I changed from the original concept, which is really cool. But then I finished the book in 2017 at that point, and I was having a hard year, and I was feeling really depressed. And not having that book after a year of it being like my catharsis, it was too hard. So I was like, well, okay, how about I write a second book? And then a third, and then a fourth, and then a fifth, and then recently I came up with a sixth book. So hi, that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years, and I've barely talked about it on here. So yeah, it spiraled way beyond what it was originally. The relationship is 100% still the core of it. So if you love The Last of Us, Revolution, you liked Giles and Buffy from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Joel and Ellie, Ellen Hopper, stuff like that, you will like this book. Whenever it exists. So I've been working on like a 5 to 6 book series for the past decade of my life. I am currently 25, and I'll be 26 this year, and I started it when I was about 15 years old, and that's just a crazy thing to think about. So now, like, you know, where I am currently with it, I've edited the first book a few times now. I have to edit again. I rewrote it actually a couple times. I'm on like the 4th draft, I believe. I'm taking a break from the first book and I'm rewriting the second one, which is almost done. And sometime on this channel, I'm gonna work on the 3rd book and what my plan would be for it. In the future, I'm going to try to write that book in a month. I don't think it's gonna happen, but we're gonna do a month writing journey on this channel regardless. I do think that would be super fun. I wanna make more videos about my writing journey because it's such a huge part of my life, and it's something that I haven't talked about like hardly at all on here. So I think it'd be really fun to also keep myself more accountable for it. I'm making this video as well because I tried to explain some of this in a different month-long video where I got so much footage for it and I scrapped the whole thing because it was chaotic as heck. We're gonna be more organized with all of this, but my writing process is very chaotic in some ways. It's very organized for myself, but I think it would confuse other people. I have notes. I have documents full of notes that are hundreds of over 100 pages long for each book. Just notes and notes and dialogue. I script a lot of dialogue. I act out a lot of dialogue. I write scenes out of order. I've written chunks of each book separately that will all have to come together at some point. I have music that's inspired it. I have Pinterest boards that are broken up by chapter. I use docs on my phone. I use notes. I act out scenes when I'm outside or in the shower or before bed, and then I write it down quickly. Like, my process is all over the place, but you know what? It works for me and I'm proud of it, and I think it's worked well. But I'm gonna be 26, like I said, this year. I want to get all the books out there for you guys finally. I want the whole series to be published. So that was kind of like a big goal of mine, is to write as much as possible this year, because I don't want to be 30 and not have at least the first book published. So we're gonna try to write more of the books. I'm gonna document a lot of it on this channel because I wanted to do that for a while, and I think it'll help me do better, like I said. said. And I want you guys to come along with me on this journey. I'll tell you more about it as I go along. Also, if you guys want to read any part of the series that I just explained, I have a flashback short story on Amazon and it's on Kindle Unlimited. Here's what it looks like. I will be republishing this eventually and then also doing a part 2, but for now that's kind of a long way out though because I haven't worked on it in a while. But if you want to read at least how like the beginning of the story, it takes place 100 years before what I just told you, the June and James story, but it's very, very much a part of the main series. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about a little bit about my writing journey. I think this video was pretty short and that's okay. I just wanted to like have this out there so you guys know, you know, what I'm doing, and so you have a bit more context for the future when I talk about things more. It's me a day later. Please ignore how I look right now. My goodness. Look at Totoro instead. He's cute. Something that I forgot to mention in the video is that I'm going to basically be setting a goal for myself every time I write in a video or talk about my writings to try to keep myself accountable through you guys. So it is currently, what is the date? It is January 28th. I didn't realize it was the end of the month. Holy cow, what is happening? But it's January 28th. My goal, I'm currently rewriting the second book in my series and I will tell you guys a lot about that in future videos. But right now, I'm actually only like a few chapters away from finishing my like third draft. I'll make a whole video of me finishing the book, but my current goal on January 28th is to have this book finished probably by at least like February 14th. Ironically, that's actually the day that the book takes place and ends. So I would like to at least have it done by Valentine's Day, which aligns with the book, which is really funny. But that's kind of my goal and hopefully I'll be able to reach it and document the process. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I just wanted to add that in here because I think it's a good thing to do for each video. So my current goal is February 14th. But yeah, I hope you guys will come along with me on this writing journey because I'm really, really excited about it. It's meant so much to me through a lot of trauma and grief and loss, not just my grandfather, but so many other things that have happened over the past 10 years. This book has been such an anchor for me. I thank God every day for giving me this story. So I'm really excited for you guys to come along with me once again on this journey and see what it's all about and hopefully get as excited about it as I am, because I really think a lot of you would love this story as much as I do and really connect to the characters and what happens to them. So yeah, once again, thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you next time, hopefully with some good writing and other videos, reading and stuff, but writing videos coming very soon. Thank you, bye.
Come along, catch a heffalump, sit with me on a muddy clump, we'll sing a song of days gone by.